Hi there. The Center for Community Design and Preservation at the University of Georgia's College of Environment and Design is leading a virtual design charrette for McDuffie County to envision a trail system and recreational enhancements to support an application for a Georgia Outdoor Stewardship Program grant. A design charrette is a multi-day workshop that brings designers and locals together to envision plans for the future. Students from our landscape architecture and urban planning programs have developed some initial concepts that we hope to get your feedback on. Here's some background about the project. The McDuffie County Archway Partnership is interested in developing a trail system in conjunction with Georgia's Little River Water Trail, a 20-mile paddling route along the McDuffie County and Wilkes County borders, beginning at Highway 80 and extending beyond Highway 78 to Raysville Campground on Clarks Hill Lake. The goal of this charrette is to explore outdoor recreation opportunities in McDuffie County and around Clarks Hill Lake, including concepts for hiking, biking, and equestrian trails, enhancing boat launches along the Little River Water Trail, and improving the Big Heart and Raysville campgrounds. Our charrette team began by meeting with local stakeholders, including elected officials, tourism board members, and trail enthusiasts, as well as representatives from Army Corps of Engineers and the Department of Natural Resources, to understand local needs and the function of the Clarks Hill Wildlife Management Area. To begin, our students engaged in an exercise to begin thinking about the most important aspects of being outdoors, whether that was a feeling we wanted to convey through the project or a physical event that made people think of the outdoors. For this exercise, the students generated over 85 responses, which we grouped into 7 categories, including natural ambiance, experiences, activities, wellness, tranquility, safety, and community. These themes served as guiding principles as we explored various conceptual ideas throughout the day. Next, the charrette teams worked in pairs to explore how different user groups use trails and what they might seek out as amenities. Since hiking was familiar to all, the teams focused on different, distinct user groups. The students were asked to imagine that they were planning a trip to the Clarks Hill Lake area, and they are either paddlers, cyclists, or equestrian riders. Using research, imagination, and case studies, we explored what each group would want and need in an adventure, and the advantages and disadvantages of the Clarks Hill Lake area for such a trip. Here are the design ideas that emerged from this exercise. According to our initial research, we found that Georgia residents are more likely to participate in fishing and other water sports than the average American. Canoeing, kayaking, and rafting are some of the most profitable activities for state parks and rivers in the state of Georgia. So providing this service has a great chance to be extremely beneficial to McDuffie County. This research led us to examine what paddlers such as canoers and kayakers need and want when determining where to take a trip. Most paddlers need knowledge of launch and takeout locations and types of access, parking spaces with and without trailers, travel times to and from the start and end points, wayfinding along the trail, and bathrooms. They also want stops along the trails to stretch their legs and take in the scenery, as well as outfitters to rent equipment and/or to shuttle boats. We researched the area as well as the Little River Water Trail maps to determine the pros and cons of the paddling experience along the Little River Water Trail. Some of the pros included the water trail is already in place and accessible to the community, and there is already interest from the community in participating. While some of the cons include the water trail runs through part of the wildlife management hunting area, and more infrastructure is going to be needed to make it an attraction. As part of their research on water trails, our students discovered the Tugalo Corridor, which extends 10 miles from Panther Creek to the Yonan Dam area. In addition to having a number of canoes and kayaks available for rent, the Stevens Community Foundation also sponsors Memorial Day and Labor Day weekend canoeing and kayaking river history tours. This case study is a good example for McDuffie County to consider in terms of additional amenities such as parking, wayfinding, and outfitters, picnic spot, and various other things paddlers look for in a water trail. Our students took the wants and needs of canoers and kayakers and incorporated them into the Little River Water Trail between Access Point 1 at Highway 80 and Access Point 2 at Highway 78. The purpose of this design is to improve the experience for paddlers on an already existing water trail. Beginning at Access Point 1 at Highway 80, we propose a new parking lot, motorboat launch, a separate kayak and canoe launch, and restrooms. This lot should accommodate trailer parking and be located away from the road in the existing clearing. Providing a separate launch that is specifically designed for canoes and kayaks is preferred, and getting into and out of a low boat can be tricky. There's also potential for a small outfitters at this location to rent boats and provide shuttle services. Number 2 on this map indicates a utility corridor with the potential for vehicular access in emergency situations. There's also potential for ADA access, which could lend itself well towards emergency accessibility. Number 3 on this map would be a great place for travelers to get out and stretch their legs, as well as take in the sights along the curve of the river. Next, numbers 4 and 5 indicate 2 options for good locations for a restroom, as they occur midway on this first leg and are flat areas where travelers can stretch their legs. Plus, it serves a place for potential emergency access due to an existing dirt road, which could be extended. Location number 6 is an interesting area. There is an existing tributary just off the river, and while it could serve as a stretching area, the stream appears to be shallow and could potentially be a good place for kids and adults to swim and enjoy the water just outside of the main waterway. The area could also be an educational opportunity for kids to see small aquatic wildlife and explore in a contained location. Location number 7 marks access point number 2 at Highway 78. The existing boat launch is designed for motorboats and has limited parking and no restrooms. The acreage exists to expand the parking area, thereby adding room for paddlers to self-shuttle a second car and return to the access point 1 to flow down the river. Restroom facilities would be a welcome amenity for the folks coming off the river after a long day of fishing or paddling. This site may better accommodate a small outfitter for boat rental, shuttle service, fishing supplies, and even a restaurant. Our final thoughts are that a few key upgrades to the existing Little River Water Trail will greatly improve the experience of paddlers along the river. According to our initial research, we found that cycling is not only an affordable hobby to include along the trails, there is also a strong correlation between cycling and camping, which could benefit McDuffie County twofold. Biking is a great form of exercise. It gets your heart rate up, is an easy to do solo or communal activity, and is accessible ways to enjoy the outdoors. Off-road cyclists generally fall into 2 camps, mountain bikers and casual cyclists. The Southern Off-Road Biking Association is the leading trail riding organization of the Southeast. Its members advocate for biking on public lands and are known for donating their time towards building and maintaining trails, as well as hosting educational and fundraising events to promote trail use. We began by determining what the different types of riders look for in a biking trail. Most mountain bikers need hilly trails with steep inclines, narrow dirt trails, and parking. They also want trails no wider than 2 feet, single-use trails, community, and volunteer trail maintenance. Casual recreational cyclists are generally more comfortable riding on flatter paved surfaces that aren't shared by vehicles. An infrequent bike rider may feel comfortable riding on an unpaved dirt path if the terrain is fairly hard-packed. Campgrounds offer a great opportunity to ride bikes because they are self-contained areas without a lot of vehicular traffic. Kids are often seen riding bikes in campgrounds for this reason. Most recreational cyclists need flat and gentle slopes, firm surfaces, and minimal vehicular traffic. They also want directional signage, options for short and long distances, destinations, and scenery. The Big Heart and Raysville campgrounds provide excellent opportunities to incorporate trails as a recreational amenity. There's additional acreage on both campgrounds on property already managed by McDuffie County and outside of the hunting ranges. With this in mind, some of the pros of adding bike trails are an existing road network, established parking areas, gentle slopes, county-managed land, free admission, development for amenities, picnic areas, and restrooms. Some of the cons of the bike trails are additional parking will be needed. There may be potential conflict if it's too close to the hunting areas, and it may not attract challenge-seeking mountain bikers. When researching mountain bike trails, our students found the Chicopee Woods Mountain Bike Trails. Located in Hall County near Gainesville, Georgia, Chicopee Woods offers 21.3 miles of mountain bike trails ranging from beginner to expert. The trails offer a variety of options, from fast, flowy trails to steep ups and downs. Reviews of the trail system indicate it is loved by mountain bikers due to its variety of terrain and encouragement of riders to forge and create their own paths. Trail maintenance makes a big difference to the rider's experience, so if volunteers will be needed to maintain mountain bike trails, these riders could be strong advocates. Panola Mountain State Park has both paved and hard surface trails for your average cyclist, in addition to its mountain bike trails. Frequenters of the park love the recreational trails for its family-friendly experience, as it's a hidden gem of the community. By possessing all three types of biking options, the park markets itself as a place for all to come and enjoy the outdoors. McDuffie County could use this location as an example of how to include traditional paved trails that could connect the campgrounds, but also include the hard surface paths through the wooded areas for a more intimate experience. Because the area is not particularly steep, and there are mountain bike trails established nearby at Keg Creek WMA and Mistletoe State Park, Big Heart Campground may be a good opportunity to create bike paths with more casual riders. A network of bike trails could be established that uses existing roads as well as new paths, connects campgrounds and the day use areas, and takes advantage of shoreline and woodline scenery. Since the existing boat ramp, picnic area, and campsites are concentrated at the end of the peninsula along the shoreline, this leaves the rest of the campground acreage available for a cohesive unit for trails, including a good amount of shoreline. A new network of bike trails could be accessed from the entrance of the campground area and weave through the peninsula, creating multiple loops and route options, both on-road and off-road. Bike trails that follow the existing topography would result in fairly flat pathways, thus appealing to casual riders. Having a series of loops near camping areas and away from vehicles provides a safe space for kids to ride independently, whereas longer rides would provide an adventurous challenge for all ages. Having more of the shoreline accessible by bike creates more access for bank fishing as well. Establishing a campground office and general store at the existing entrance gate to Big Heart Campground midway down the peninsula would serve multiple purposes. It would help establish a clear entrance and delineation between the hunting area of the WMA and the campground, thus better indicating which of the area is now off limits to shooting sports. A staffed welcome center could provide visitor assistance, camping supplies, and gift shops. Plus, it could incorporate an additional parking area for visitors who were intended in biking the trails, thereby leaving existing parking areas for boaters, fishermen, and day-use picnickers. Some important features of the office could include paddling classes, water safety courses, hunting safety courses, and archery classes. Our students also had the idea to create a shooting range in addition to the office where hunters could target practice, and this would provide an inclusive space to promote shooting sports. The range also provides a safety buffer between the campground and the rest of the wildlife management area. McDuffie County has an opportunity to add a trail system within both its campgrounds that serves as a regional amenity, providing safe ways for locals and visitors to enjoy cycling with friends or family. Because the terrain may not be as challenging for mountain bikers, designing a trail system that appeals to all ages and levels may fill a need for accessible outdoor recreation. According to our initial research, we found that equestrian riders and the overall horse industry has a $215 billion economic impact on the United States. The terrain, beauty, and campground accommodations in the Clarks Hill Lake area could appeal to equestrian riders interested in using the trail system for day trips or extended overnight trips. Most horseback riding trails are laid out in loops and linked to other trails, allowing for a variety of excursion lengths. However, horseback riding requires a significantly longer trail system than hiking or biking. Therefore, portions of the Clarks Hill Lake Wildlife Management Area would likely be needed to accommodate equestrian trails. There are certain accommodations equestrian riders need and want when determining where to ride. Most riders need moderately flat and consistent terrains, other trail users to yield to the horses, access to water every 5 to 10 miles, and horse hitching posts. They also want horse stables and equestrian campsites. Next, we organized the information we found to determine the pros and cons of incorporating equestrian trails within the Clarks Hill Lake area. Some of the pros included unique amenity that could attract new user groups to the area, increased connectivity between county campgrounds, and potential revenue opportunity. While some of the cons included, minimum trail miles needed would require WMA acreage to be used. Expensive infrastructure would be needed, and horses could easily be spooked depending on the distance of hunters. Watson Mill Bridge State Park in Comer, Georgia, is a popular destination for trail riding on horseback. Presently, the park has 12 miles of horse trails designated for equestrian riders only. Bicycles and dogs are not allowed on these trails. While there are some grades, most trail riders would consider Watson Mill Bridge trails to be less steep terrain than the mountain trails found further north, nor are they as flat as the trails found further south. This is one of the reasons equestrian trails are so popular at this site. At the head of the horse trail system, there's a camping area for equestrians wishing to stay longer than just a day. To accommodate the suggested minimum distance needed for the equestrian trails, as well as trailer parking and stable infrastructure for overnights, the Charrette team proposes an 8.5-mile multi-use trail connecting Big Heart Campground and Raysville Campground. The main stable and equestrian accommodations would be located in Big Heart Campground to be the starting point for excursions. The trail would consist of a series of back loops to offer riders multiple length trails depending on how long they would like to ride and camp. There is also a possibility to incorporate equestrian campgrounds specific to housing horses overnight, perhaps concentrating the equestrian trails to the eastern part of the site and increasing the separation between hunting and horses. While incorporating equestrian trails into the Clarks Hill Lake area could be a difficult endeavor, it can be extremely beneficial for the community to attract new users and offer a fun and relatively unique activity to the trail system. In conclusion, the Charrette team has presented several ideas for incorporating new amenities into the Clarks Hill Lake area. As a McDuffie County resident or visitor, your feedback will help the students improve upon their ideas. Please visit the link above or scan our QR code to complete a short survey about your thoughts on our work presented today. We will have a second round of ideas in late April, and by the summer, we'll present a final report of the Charrette concepts, which will be based on your feedback and the case study research of similar trail systems elsewhere. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to hearing your feedback. Goodbye!